Good morning. We're going to do something a little different this morning. Happy Memorial Day. Be sure to thank a veteran if you see one. If you see a Vietnam veteran, please welcome them home. They didn't get much of a welcome when they came back, and they'll appreciate that, most of them. But try to do it in, I've seen people do that in public, in front of people, and it can upset the veteran, like they got PTSD pretty bad. So what I try to do is, if I welcome a Vietnam veteran home, I wait till they walk out of the store or something, and then thank them personally, in case they get a little emotional. So I want to go over a couple of things in the good old heart cell pack. Just some fun stuff. Has to do with my training in Div 6. And a lot of this stuff is just reworded and revamped research and work and talent, really, from Dale Carnegie and Les Dane. The D.E.I. scale expanded is a tool you use in dissemination, and it's like kind of like a rain gauge to gauge someone's interest of whether or not they're going to buy something and what their interest level is. This is a HCO bulletin from October 1959 for franchise holders, before the church was recognized. The D.E.I. expanded scale with note on salesman. The original scale has numbers associated with it, 4.0 being desire, 1.5 being enforce, and 0.5 being inhibit. And it was expanded in 52 to curiosity, desire, enforce, and inhibit. And in 59, he says he found another vital point on the scale which gives him a new case entry level point. Curiosity, desire, enforce, inhibit, unknown. He also adds, to confuse things even more, I suspect that weight fits between unknown and inhibit. To make these agree in intention, they would become interest, desire, enforced, inhibit, unknown. The scale also inverts, I find, similar to the dynamics and below sanity on any subject, whatever the fuck that means. Word clear it. Word clear it. Word clear any. So you have a full conceptual understanding of what the fuck that sentence means. So the inverted scale, unknown, inhibit, enforce, desire, interest. And then the note with note on salesman. These points on the inverted scale going down are lowered by failure. Each lower step is an explanation to justify having failed with the upper level. One seeks to not know something and fails. One seeks to inhibit it and fails. This is a bunch of bullshit. Okay, so you drill this thing, the D.E.I. scale. The way you do it is through a process that you run on someone, similar to auditing. From where could you communicate to an unknown body? From where could you communicate to an unwanted body? From where could you communicate to an unnecessary body? From where, by the way, I'm not auditing you. From where could you communicate a desirable body? From where could you communicate an interesting body? He says this would pick the case up off the bottom and run it to the top on any terminal that has gone totally reactive. Okay. Now that's one part. Another part, pre-session processes. Another thing you drill in Div 6. Pre-session processes. This is a long reference. I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but see, I missed it. 121. I'm going to focus mostly on Dissemination Drill. This would be the most helpful if anybody ever goes into a church and does an OCA test. This is what they're going to run on you, is the Dissemination Drill. But right now this is pre-session processes. April 21, 1960. Hubbard Communications Office Bulletin. Have you ever wondered how to persuade a stranger to get audited? Have you ever had to sell a hostile family member Scientology before you could audit someone? Well, you'll be pleased to know that all these problems have been vanquished by some material I've developed. You see, I do think of you. His fucking lips. Okay. Pre-session process is a process that is used to get into session. They're used on a stranger who isn't receiving well, a person antagonistic to Scientology, a person who ARC breaks easily in session, a person who makes few gains in session, a person who relapses after being helped, a person who makes no gains in auditing, a person who, having been audited, refuses further auditing, any person being audited as a check-off before session, allowed to PC, or silently by auditor. What? Okay. Pre-session process is parallel in importance the auditing of unconscious people. Alright, so this is HCCI. So this is the other. You got D.E.I. that you drill. You got HCCI, Help Control Communication Interest. You're taught and brainwashed and drilled that unless you have all of these points in place, it is improbable that any real case gain will be made. So you have to have your pre-session points in with someone. This is quite a long reference. There's processes that you do, training routines, 8C mostly. You run 8C, which is, they call it 8C, it means infinite control. It's whenever you tell someone to sit down in a chair, or walk over here, or touch that wall, or those are for all intents and purposes, those are just dummy commands. So 8C could be a command for anything. Go get me $10,000. Oh. Okay. So the Dissemination Drill, you get weeded out whether you're cut out for Div 6 with this drill. Reissued February 79, original issue 65, it was reissued in 79 and 86. Says here that the PL was, this policy letter, says here the PL was illegally revised in 65 and distributed and was corrected in 81. Bunch of corrections. SPs altered the Dissemination Drill, apparently. So it has 4 exact steps that must be done with a person you're disseminating to. There's no set pattern, nor any set words you say to the person. There are 4 steps you must accomplish with the individual, and they're listed in order they should be done. Now, this is what they do when you do an OCA. You sit down, they've graphed everything out. And it's drilled on regs to a point to where they just do it without even thinking. And they do it not even in reg cycles. They're doing it all the time. They're constantly doing the Dissemination Drill. Contact, handle, salvage, bring to understanding. So, contact, plain and simple, it just means making personal contact with someone, whether you approach them or they approach you. Number 2, handle. If the person is wide open to Scientology and reaching, this step can be omitted. There's nothing to handle. Handle is to handle any attacks, antagonism, challenge, or hostility that the individual might express towards you and or Scientology. Definition of handle: to control, direct. Handle implies directing an acquired skill to the accomplishment of an immediate ends. Once the individual has been handled, you then salvage. Definition of salvage: to save from ruin. Before you can save someone from ruin, you must find out what their personal ruin is. This is basically what is ruining them, what is messing them up. It must be a condition that is real to the individual as an unwanted condition, or one that can be made real to them. That last line, one that can be made real to them. And plenty of people who don't have major problems, plenty of normal people out there get into Scientology. A reg is their job, their drill to do, is to find their ruin. You can find a ruin. Doesn't matter how great someone's life is. You could have everything and you want going for you, and you'll find ruin. So after that, once the person is aware of the ruin, you bring about an understanding that Scientology can handle the condition in 3. This is done by simply stating that Scientology can, or by using the data to show how it can. The successful regs will use a lot of references in the hard sell pack to show how it can be handled with Scientology. It's at the right moment on this step that one person hands the person the selection slip or one's professional card and directs him to the service that will best handle what he needs handled. Those are the steps of the Dissemination Drill. They're designed so that an understanding of them is necessary, and that understanding is best achieved by being coached on the drill. And then there's the coaching of the drill. So coach and student may sit facing each other, comfortable distance apart, or they may stand ambulatory. Purpose: to enable a Scientologist to disseminate Scientology effectively to individuals. To enable one to contact, handle, salvage, and bring to understanding another being. To prepare a Scientologist so that he won't be caught flat-footed when being attacked or questioned by another. Patter. There is no set patter. The coach plays the part of a non-Scientologist and displays the attitude about Scientology upon being approached by the student. The student must then handle, salvage, and bring to understanding. Okay? The coach says start, student must contact the coach and do all the steps. Contact, handle, salvage, bring to understanding. Contact, handle, salvage, bring to understanding. You start on a gradient, just like almost everything in Scientology, and the drill goes like this. Hey, that's contact. Hey, how's it going? I'm Marcus. Person responds, hi, who the fuck are you? You ever heard of Scientology? Yeah, it's a fucking cult. You gotta handle that. So it's on a gradient, and they start, you don't start giving you a bunch of shit right away. Say, yeah, well, did you know that the definition of cult is any group that has a set of beliefs and blah, 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 blah. And, they give you a little win, say, oh, okay. And then you start talking to them about ruins. Like, is there anything that you'd like to improve in your life? Yeah, sure, I'd like to improve my finances. Well, Scientology can help you with that. Ha ha ha. You got the finance course, you know, you got handling money, whatever. Um, and bring to understanding. And that's whenever you would show them the material. And this is part of Div 6 and how you learn the material yourself so that you know what to sell to who. So there you have it, the Dissemination Drill and the D.E.I scale and the HCCI pre-session processes. I'm not gonna lie, these things did make me a good salesman, you know, of Scientology. You can apply it to pretty much. You take out the Scientology of it, and it's just really all it is just you know, letting a person talk, you know, and just, you know, instead of using pressure, which you always do in the salvage and bring to understanding steps, you apply pressure. In the real world, in the WOG world, you simply contact an individual, you talk to them. If they have a problem with your company, I mean, obviously you want to have, you know, a good track record. If you have customers that aren't happy with your service, then you would try to address that. That would be step 2, handle. Bring the salvage would be figure out what the next service that is that they need. But you wouldn't try to sell them a service if they're dissatisfied with the previous service. You wouldn't do so if you want to continue to have that person give you money and be a client. And then you would you know, then you would find out what it is that they need, and then you would sell them what they need. And that's all like just ripped off from the Big League Sales and How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was a paradigm shift for sales in the United States. Car lots popping up everywhere in the 1950s, and in the beginning there, the D.E.I. he talks about it. This is when he was writing it in the 50s. He was a big, whether he would admit it or not, he was a huge Carnegie and Dane fan. So that's an example of a couple of references that aren't really Scientology. You know, nothing in Scientology, in my opinion, is really an original thought. It's all combined, composite thoughts to try and for Hubbard to try and make sense out of what he had created. Because I think that he believed his shit. So, yeah, that's that. Happy Memorial Day. It's hot as hell here in Louisiana. And got a podcast that I'll be editing soon about music production with my buddy Dale, who's an engineer at a studio here in town. And got 4 new tracks that we laid down. Maybe I'll make a music video or something. It's a beautiful day. It's just hot as hell. So, anyways, live long and prosper. Have a great day. See you guys later.